Hello and welcome. Hope you're having a good time with your family and friends and liking these sessions. In today's video, I'm here to talk about what Dragon Copilot is and how you can get started with this technology. Like always, if you're getting value from these sessions, consider subscribing to the channel and share this content. So let's look at what a typical scenario look like when a patient visit any clinic. So let's say that this patient is visiting and he has been attended by a doctor in this case, right? Obviously, the patient make a appointment, and then when patient reaches the clinic, then he will be taken to a room in which doctor and patient will have a conversation. Typically, patient will tell him that the problem that he or she is facing. Doctor is going to take some notes, right? And based on maybe patient history and the diagnose, it's going to prescribe maybe medication. If there is some test needs to be done and he needs to be maybe if referred to a specialist, then doctor also needs to write a referral letter. And on top of that, all these things needs to be uploaded to a EHR system or electronic health and record system. And what has been noted that all these different processes take up almost 50% of the work of clinic workforce. Now, what happens if we can utilize AI over here to streamline this process and also maintain a digital copy end to end and integrate with the other health application that most of these clinics might be having? And that's where Dragon Copilot will come into play. Now, if you look at in the back end, Dragon Copilot is utilizing different technology. It's utilizing natural language processing along with ambient listening plus generative AI because it's going to generate, let's say, a form and integrate with other systems. So, all these things are done by Dragon Copilot in the backend. And this is done in full compliance. Your data is fully encrypted, and you can integrate with your other applications also. Obviously, in order to record this conversation, you need to take a consent from the patient. And once that is done, everything is taken care in the backend by this application. Now, how you're going to activate this application? So there are different ways. So you can access it through as a web application. So basically, you go to a URL. I'm going to show you in a moment. You can also download an iOS app. So basically, as a mobile application, you can utilize this too. You can also deploy this, let's say, on your personal laptop. So you can deploy this on your desktop as a desktop application, and you can also utilize this, let's say, as a VDI in a virtualized environment. So a lot of flexibility in terms of how you can access it. And once this is done, in the background, it's going to record the session in real time. It will summarize the complete conversation. Doctor still has the complete control. He can make changes or edit this form which has been created, and then in case he needs to refer anything, he can also refer this, and all this is uploaded in the back end and integrated with your own system. So this is what we are trying to achieve, and by doing this, not only you have a digital copy, but it will streamline the complete workflow for you, right? in full accordance with whatever compliance any country might be having. For example, every country has its own, like US has its HIPAA. India also has its own compliance requirement, which is to protect and keep the data for certain duration. So you need to read in the copy. I'm going to come to that too in a moment. Canada also has these laws. So most of the companies, they mandate that these clinics should keep patient's information for a certain duration, which is required maybe in case the doctor needs to go back into the history. He needs to refer something before he also recommends. So all these things will be required, and it's done in full compliance, as you can see, but the data is fully protected. And these are all the ways that you can go and access this through a web application, through a mobile application. You can install this on your personal laptop also, and also integrate it with the other system that you might be having. Now, what are the different ways you can procure it? So there are two ways you can go and procure it. So first one is what you call per user license, and the other option is flex license plus Azure PayGo consumption. So if you go with the first option, which you can procure with different ways, right? You get full capability in this per user license. Then you get front end speech recognition, you get ambient recording, then you also get the generative AI, basically, which is for notes creation and everything. But when it comes to flex license, you only get front end speech recognition. This will be included for you in this, right? But other components such as ambient recording and generative AI capabilities such as form creation, summarizing, and all that stuff is going to be based on pay as you go consumption. And the way it is going to be calculated is what you call consumption unit, and also referred to as sometime CU. And the cost of this one is $0.01. I'm talking about USD right now, per consumption unit. Now, based on what component you're utilizing, this is what I would just want to show you here. Actually, not this one, right here, this one. Hopefully it is visible for you. So you can see, let's say, for example, I want to create an ambient structure node. So on an average, it's going to consume 300 consumption unit, and the rate is zero point zero 0.01 for you. If it needs to create a referral letter, then it's 10 consumption unit, and you can multiply with the same way, summarizing encounter, summarizing evidence, you want to order something and integrate with the application. So all these things going to be part of the pay as you go, and you need obviously an Azure consumption. And one thing, in order to activate this, yes, you need an Azure subscription, but you also need to register a resource provider by going into Azure portal with the name Microsoft Health Platform. And then this part will be part of the pay as you go. Actually, let me quickly show you. I'm going to flip over to the Azure portal and go to subscription. I only have one in my environment. And you can come under the settings and you go to resource provider. And if you have not registered, you can go and search for health. And this is the one I'm talking about. You can see I'm registered, so you can go and register this if it is not, but this will be required in order to enable the pay as you go billing for those two components which I talked about, right? Okay, now other thing that might also come across is, as you know, that this is a SaaS application, so everything is taken care by Microsoft in the back end. But all these different industry, all health industry in specific mandates that you keep the data for certain duration. So out of the box, by default, as of right now, Microsoft will keep the data, let's say for audio and transcript for 90 days, voice dictation and text are retained for 180 days. But let's say that if you want to keep it for longer duration, what you can do is this also integrates with Microsoft Purview. And under data lifecycle, you can register your AI application or your Copilot with Microsoft Purview, and then you can create a retention policy for how long you want to keep the data for. So that's also there, and it also integrates with Microsoft Fabric in case you need to generate dashboard and reporting. So that's also there. So all these capabilities are integrated for you to give you an end-to-end solution, right? Now, let's say if you want to access this through web, depending upon which data center you're trying to hit, you can go to www.copilotdragon.com. In US, in Canada, we have specific, Germany, France, UK. You can go and access it, but there are different ways. As I mentioned, you can go and enable this service. But one thing that remains same is you need to have per user license for full blown service. But if you want to have just a base license, which is flex, you can enable other components such as ambient recording, generative AI, and you can funnel that through Azure subscription, which is pay as you go, which is typically your monthly billing. But again, going back to the problem that we are trying to solve here is that we are trying to reduce the admin work any clinic that needs to do, but still at the same time maintaining the complete compliance, privacy of the patient, and the data is retained for you, and that is all achieved through Dragon Copilot. Hopefully, this gives you an idea about this service. Thanks for watching and have a good day.